My name's Lynn Gilmartin. This is the Aussie Millions, and you're about to witness poker history in the making for this 10th anniversary main event. Our magnificent 7 finalists hail from all corners of the globe, including Australia. For the past 3 years, we've seen locals take the title. Can the country make it 4 in a row? Or is it time for the rest of the world to catch up?
This is the big one, and this is the final table. Let's have a look at our lineup. In seat 1, it is Australian Mile Kristanowski. Next to him in seat 2, from Canada, age 23, Jan Dion. In seat 3, another Aussie, bit of a veteran, he's Patrick Healy. In seat 4, from Hong Kong, is Bjorn Lee, our chip leader. In seat 5, from Hong Kong, it's Kenneth Wong. And in seat 6, another young Aussie, Oliver Spiedel. Next to him in seat 7, from Sweden, is our short stack Mohamed Kasari. So here are our magnificent 7. All with a shot at the title. Bjorn Lee from Hong Kong is ruling the roost at the moment with nearly 5 million chips. Oliver Spiedel from Australia in second. At the bottom, Mohamed Kasari, also a Swede, still very much in contention. We're off and running. Blinds at 20 and 40,000. Glory and a very large pot of money awaits for our eventual victor. Everyone, of course, in the money, so no one will go home too disappointed. But it's not often that these players will get a shot at such a big and historic title. Mile Kristanowski folds round to Jan Dion from Canada, possibly related to Celine Dion, who is also a Canadian. I'll get back to you. This is our chip leader, Bjorn Lee, with some massive turrets in front of him, and more crucially, King Jack under his left hand. Jack out of the box there, but it is Kasari who leads with the ace. Gives a free card. Will Lee be tempted? It is the chip leader against the man currently in bottom position. Bullying a possibility. But it's gone bet call. They each have 2 pairs. Jacks and 6s against aces and 6s. $175,000. Kasari has that jack on the board to use as a kicker. Makes the call, and he'll be delighted he did so. Nice shot in the arm, and some irritation shown there by the chip leader. Kasari in his counting house, and cards in motion. 40,000 of course. Australian Mile Kristanowski gets out of the way. Mr. Dion doesn't want to play with rags. And back around to our chip leader again, Bjorn Lee on the button. Position is power in poker, but he won't enjoy too many flops with 3-2. So I may want to pump this up now.
He's 85,000.
button raise. This is Kenneth Wong from Hong Kong. (6-3) gets out of the way. And Australian Oliver Spiedel with the rag ace wants to see a flop out of position.
Check that. Check.
Nothing for either player. You'd expect a continuation bet here from Bjorn Lee.
$90,000.
90,000 and a stare. A quick call there, but it is in fact Lee who profits from the turn card. It gives Spiedel a gut shot draw.
Check that.
Instead, look at this. Well, when you're on top, you're on top. Raises with 3 deuce and ends up with a full house. 3's full of 5s. He got Spiedel to call off 90,000. May pump in around 150 here, hoping to get some value. Well, it's a lot bigger than that.
275,000.
Bit of a grimace from Spiedel. 3 hearts out there as well. 5s and 3s with an ace kicker. Entangling with the one man he probably doesn't want to mix it with. Certainly going through a whole catalogue of emotions there. But makes a right decision in the end. Bjorn Lee emphasises his dominance.
Over 5 days, I've had a lot of luck, and it's brought me to where I am right now. But I would say I've also played really well. I like to put pressure on my opponents and just like to win many pots that way. Yeah.
Confident young man from Hong Kong. He gets a chance to look down at 2 more cards. This time not interested. Kenneth Wong has the Joe Hasham hand, 7-3. And here is the burly Aussie, Mile Kristanowski. Queen 4 in the small blind.
Raised 100,000.
He's in a raising mood, so pressure over on Yan Dion. Ace-9 in the big blind. Might see him come over the top here. No, it looks like he's just going to flat call it and see a flop. He's in position.
Check that.
Jack, Jack 3. Nothing for nobody.
Check.
Dion, who looks a bit like Tintin with a bad hangover, decides that
80,000.
his ace is good enough. Kristanowski missed the flop by a country mile. This one is all about the bluff from both players, really. If he can summon up the nerve to come over the top here, it's going to be hard for Yan Dion to call.
Raised 205,000.
Excellent read from Kristanowski. Two jacks on the board. It's going to be hard for Dion to find the courage to go really over the top here.
Cool.
Well, he flat calls. That's curious.
Check that.
The 10 has really been no assistance to him. But it will set the cat among the pigeons for Kristianowski. These players not necessarily the most familiar in the world, but we're seeing some high standard play here.
205,000.
Both players really operating with just air. If it was the 10 of diamonds, you could understand Dion getting involved. But this time, surely he can't just call. Let's fold her all in. And he takes the wiser course of actions. And well played, Miles Kristianowski. A big pot. He was determined from the get-go that he was going to have a run at that one. And he held his nerve beautifully.
40,000.
95,000 to win in the middle before we do anything. Round to Kasari. Jack 10 suited.
Raised to 100,000.
Kristianowski, well, he's done his bluff for the day.
Cool.
Patrick Healy wants a peep. He's dominating Kasari at the moment.
Oh, heads up.
So heads up to the flop. Healy in charge, but of course he doesn't know that.
150,000.
Representing the ace. And Kasari doesn't have the biggest stack at the table. But feels he has enough to see one more card. And it's an interesting one. Gives Kasari a pair and a straight draw. Healy also with the draw.
$275,000.
Pressure now on Healy.
Cool.
He's in front and he makes the call. Not a believer when it comes to the ace. 3 clubs on the board. Nobody made their straight. Nobody has a black card.
$300,000.
Kasari just has a pair of jacks.
Oh,
And that is not good enough for him to go any further. Some high quality play from Patrick Healy.
Poker is an enjoyable pastime for me, but from what I've seen of everyone there, Millie's the one guy that could be a professional. I know a little bit about him from Perth, very well respected there, strong player. So if it's not me that wins, it'll be him.
One of my friends, Ray, he actually won the seat for me. So we worked together, and you know, it was a last minute thing. I was actually not running very well. I've been here for 2 weeks, so I haven't been running well, and then last minute decision was to sell the ticket and go home with 5,000, half each, or actually come through, and I made a decision come through, and here I am. So
Wow,
I'm glad I
what a
didn't sell it.
decision.
Yeah.
Poker, very much a game of decisions and situations. And of course position. Kasari early doors with King 4. Wants nothing to do with it. Rags for Big Mile. Round to Patrick Healy. Ace Queen in the cutoff.
raised to 90,000.
He pumps it up. And our chip leader won't be in love with 10-4. Kenneth Wong with a medium ace, out of position, in the small blind. Good decision. So, Oliver Spiegel, pocket jacks.
Cool.
And he flat calls. Heads up, Healy against Speedle.
Heads up.
Two Aussies. Both be wanting to win on home soil. Good flop for Jacks. Gone check, check. Well, even better for Jacks, he picks up a straight draw. Mind you, he doesn't want to hit his Jack now, because that would give Healy the straight. Queen would give him a straight and make things interesting, because Patrick Healy might think he'd be in front.
125,000. Cool.
This one building nicely. Not the gin card we were looking for. But 5 cards, all below his Jacks. You've got to fancy Speedle will be confident.
250,000.
250,000. And a bare ace high for Patrick Healy. Riffling those 50,000 chips, but reaching instead
500,000 raise.
for 500,000. Very hard, surely, for Speedle to fold this. Tournaments like this, top heavy when it comes to the prize money. 250,000 more. A reluctant call, but he's going to be delighted. And he actually got a bonus there, thanks to Healy's adventure. So some Aussie on Aussie damage there. But both players still very much in with a shout. They battled through a few days of poker to get here. And for a lot of them it will be their first experience of a huge final table. That's a factor you've got to bear in. We've been watching players like Phil Ivey and Patrick Antonius who never seem to skip a beat or drop a bead of sweat. But these guys will be internally in turmoil.
That's 85,000.
Button raise from Kenneth Wong. Speedle out of the way. And Kasari from Sweden, home of course of many great poker players,
Heads up.
decides to make the call with the King Queen off.
Check. Check.
No continuation bet from Wong. He picks up a straight draw now. Kasari has the King of Hearts. One more heart would help him. At the moment he's in front anyway. But with such a strong draw, he may fancy betting it. No, he checks. And it's Wong
90,000.
who comes out firing. Raised from the button. Will Kasari put him on that ace? Even if he does, is the price right to make the call with the nut flush draw? He reckons so. So Kasari can only be beaten by a bluff, but there's every chance he will be bluffed here. The only way Kenneth Wong can win this is by bluffing. He knows it. It's just getting the amount right. Anything around 250, 300,000 should be enough.
180.
Slightly lower than that, but a really, really tricky call with just a king queen.
Sorry? 180,000.
Well, he's asked how it is. He's looking through his smallish stack, but he's seen something that he likes. Great call. He must have seen a read there. That is impressive with just the king. Kenneth Wong needed to bet maybe a little bit more there. Still
40,000 to put.
7 players, nearly an hour in. Bjorn Lee started off as chip leader. Hasn't really moved in either direction. Picks up pocket 7s.
85,000.
Now, Kenneth Wong, just beaten by King Queen. How will he play it? He calls. And Kasari
85.
also sticks it in with Jack 10. Kristanowski, well,
3 players.
the price was decent, but the cards weren't. He gets out of the way. All hearts in the middle. Kasari has the Jack of Hearts.
Check.
Top 2 pair for Kenneth Wong. A set of 7s for Bjorn Lee. This is an action flop.
$200,000.
It's always nice to hit a set, but when they're all the same colour on the board, you are wary of flushes. That could slow the betting down slightly from Lee. He's put 200,000 in. Wong's called. And now Kasari. How much does he fancy his Jack of Hearts? There's only the Ace of Hearts beating him in the race to a flush. But of course at the moment he has nothing. But this pot building very nearly $1 million, and everybody in with a shout. That is Broadway for Kasari, so he's made his straight. Bjorn Lee, set of 7s, puts in $500,000. This is
435,000.
fairly delightful news. Now, Kenneth Wong, even though he has 2 pairs, has seen an awful lot of strength. That ace may save him some money. And that is a good disciplined fold. Kasari surely has to come over the top here.
All in.
Now, Lee, not delighted. This is a huge call. There are 3 hearts out there, straights out there.
1 million?
He's asking for the count.
1.345.
345 on top.
Yeah.
1.345 billion.
Can he let this go?
On top, 2 gold.
He'd need to hit a 7, Queen, King or Ace to make his house. So by no means out of it if he did call, but he would be calling behind. Just checking how much he'd be left with. $3.1 million in the middle. If he calls and wins, he does call. He's going to see he's in trouble, but it will be Kasari who is sweating it, because he could go out. Doesn't happen. Kasari gets a huge win. 4.4 million in the middle. Remember, he came in as our short stack, but he has dealt a grievous blow to the man who was, but is no longer, our chip leader.
I'm comfortable. I have position on Oliver, which I think is a major deal for me because he tends to raise a lot with some random hands. So I think it's a good spot. If I get good cards and he decides to go for it, I think I can get a good double up.
Tickets being printed, still 7-handed at the final table of the Aussie Millions main event, one of the blue ribbon tournaments of the poker year. Attracts a great field from around the world. Mile Kristanowski hadn't had to travel too far. He is an Aussie. He pumps it up with a little bit of junior paint. Bjorn Lee still licking his wounds from that heavy defeat to Mohamed Kasari. Kenneth Wong on the button has connecting cards, but it's a little too expensive. Not for Oliver Spiedel with King Queen, and Kasari with a suited King 4 wants to join the party. So 3-handed to the flop. Kasari has made bottom pair. Does anybody want to represent the ace? They do not, so we'll see 4th Street. And it is a harmless looking deuce, which only extends Kasari's grip upon this hand. It's a rainbow board. No flushes. Check, check. Kristanowski gets another chance to buy this one. And the price he thinks it's worth is 225,000.
That's 225.
Spiedel will probably run for the hills. Kasari, just a pair of 4s. He's seen it raised by Kristanowski. He's losing to too many hands to make that call, so well done to Big Mile. Hoping to add that trophy to his already impressive collection of jewellery. Blinds at 30,000, 60,000.
60 to call. Fold.
Everyone has chips, but those blinds will stimulate action.
Raise 150. Fold. 150.
Spiedel with queens. Kristanowski with queen and 1 overcard. He decides he'll have a peep. Jan Dion on the button with the walking sticks. A raise and a call in front of him. He will have position. He goes all in for 1.435 million. Now Spiedel. Spiedel comes over the top all in. So 7s against queens. Spiedel a healthy favourite here. And Dion at risk of being the first man to leave our final table.
Ace, Jack, 3. No help for Jan. Needs to find a 7. Turn card, 2 of clubs.
2 outs now, and that's all for Dion.
His tournament life on the line, needs to find a 7 on the river. Last card, 10
And we lose Jan Dion of Canada. Out in 7th. A great tournament for this young man. And not a bad prize, 170,000 Aussie dollars. He leaves his chips in the care of Oliver Spiedel.
I probably got into poker when I was 19 or 20. I think I I'm not sure exactly, I don't remember exactly, but I think I saw it on TV or something like that. And then I started, you know, looking around online, started playing online with the play money games, and then just sort of made the transition, put some money on, and just started taking it really seriously. And it's been worked out pretty well.
Things are going pretty well. Our 6 remaining players have climbed up the payout ladder.
60.
They're all guaranteed one of the biggest paydays they'll ever see.
Raise. 120. 120.
Kasari has bumped it up with a suited 6-5, and Kristanovsky, who's played fast and loose with worse hands than pocket kings, is certainly going to get involved here. Perhaps risky in relatively early position, just a flat call. Doesn't want too much company. That seems to be the way he reads it.
Re-raise.
About a third of a million. Patrick Healy won't fancy the 7-4.
Fold.
Bjorn Lee. Didn't share them with us, but they obviously weren't too good. What about Kenneth Wong? He's put money in the blind, but doesn't want to put good money after bad, so over to Kasari. And he wants to call. So he'll need to hit this flop pretty heavy if this wants to go any further. Well, he has picked up both a straight draw and a flush draw. So there is
Check.
legs in this one yet.
Action check to the left.
Kristanovsky probably won't put him on a 6-5, but those spades will still be slightly alarming. So a continuation bet, somewhere around the $500,000 mark, seems apt, and that's what he's gone for.
150.
Will I get 450,000?
Kasari asking for a count.
It's 450. Cool.
And he makes the call.
Mohammed makes the call.
Loose-ish, and it hasn't worked out for him on the turn. Kasari says all in.
Check out 9 clubs.
Cool.
Mohammed announces all in.
He's going to have to be rather embarrassed when he turns these over. Of course, he still has cards he can hit.
5, 6 of spades for a flush draw and a straight draw.
You need a 4 or a spade, or an 8. Got the double gutter.
Or an 8. Billy needs to dodge a spade.
Kristanovsky is the man in peril. You can see he is delighted, wagging his finger across at his fans. And that bold move by Mohammed Kasari has not panned out. Blind still 30 and 60,000.
60 to call.
Running antes as well, bumping our pot up to 120,000.
Fold. Fold.
Kenneth Wong,
60.
rag ace in the cutoff. Oliver Spiedel, an interested spectator on his left. Seems to be dressed as Captain America, but he folds his suited ace on the button, so no superpowers apparently.
125.
Kristanovsky. Well, perhaps worth a call. Queen 10. He'll certainly see worse hole cards the longer he stays in this tournament. Inquiring as to how much Wong has behind,
Cool.
and decides to make the call. Heads up, not much between these two pre-flop, and it is a lady for Mile Kristanovsky.
Check.
The white checks.
Checks into Wong.
$150.
Who obligingly beefs things up with 150. Getting a stare down. Is it a raise or a call?
The white calls.
Just the call. Giving a free card to the man from Hong Kong, but it's a bit of a blank. He does pick up a gut shot straight draw. He'd need a 3.
Check to 10.
And Kristianowski again checks his top pair. This time the price gets higher.
That's
He
350.
gets 350,000. For his coin, 743.
It might actually be cheaper to raise here, because he'll either win some money or save some money on the river. It does seem risky to give Kenneth Wong a free card here. He obviously thinks his queen is good, or he wouldn't be calling.
We raise.
The lay raises.
And he's made a good decision. So it's just how gutsy Mr. Wong is. It's a big ask to draw to a 3. He may even suspect that his ace is no good, even if he hits it. Because one of the hands Kristianowski could have is a bigger ace.
Kenny lets it go.
Well played. Impressive stuff from Kristianowski. Not intimidated by anybody at the table, and by the look of him in the car park either. Certainly a hefty fella.
$60 to call.
Action on Bjorn Lee, and he will give action with the pocket kings. Young man from Hong Kong.
Raise 125. Fold. 125.
Mohamed Kasari gets out of the way.
Fold.
We're back to Kristianowski, who's been bulldozing.
The only raises. Under the gun to 125. Actually back on the bond.
He wants to see a flop.
Fold.
Patrick Healy, who's been pretty card dead, gets out of the way.
Flop with Jack, 8, 3, 2 clubs.
Check it out.
Nice flop for kings. Kristianowski checks. Backdoor flush.
Yellow checks.
There's about all he got out of that.
It's 165.
Your bet.
Tempting enough.
165.
Kristianowski giving him the eyeballs. Chewing on his gum, and I imagine chewing on the wisdom of a call here. Or of course a raise. We know he's got that in his arsenal.
The white makes it call.
We will see a 4th card.
Third card.
And there is the ace.
Action on the
Now
gun.
we'll find out
Check it out.
whether Bjorn Lee
He checks.
can get away from his love affair with these kings.
Check.
Both players check.
Keeps it cheap.
River cards, repeat 8, July 1st to speed.
2 pair for both players, but crucially, Kristanowski has the ace to Lee's kings. The young man staring at him, open-mouthed. And the Aussie says 280,000. So about $1 million in the middle.
July bets, 280,000.
Getting 3 or 4 to 1 to make this call.
Call.
And he does do so, and he'll be
Your makes a call.
somewhat gutted to see that bullet in front of Kristanowski.
2 there, 8 and 8. Is there another big pot?
Could have been worse though, could have been worse for Bjorn Lee, still very much in this tournament, but the man who is making waves at the moment, as he would do if he jumped into a swimming pool, is big Mile Kristanowski. This is a hand, however, he will
Well,
not risk leaping off the diving board with. Bjorn Lee. Slightly sad. He came in as a big chip leader, and it's pretty much all been downhill from there.
raise 120.
Kenneth Wong on the button has a bigger ace.
120,000.
All in call.
Any long answers all in? Both blinds fold.
And will it be called by Bjorn Lee? Is he tilting a bit? He's seen his empire collapse. It's a big, big call with just an ace-8. He's asking for accounts. It's nearly 900,000, as we can see.
You're asking for a chip count.
And this would
Bring in the call portion.
be an Icarus-like fall from glory if Bjorn Lee makes this call. Still a chance of winning, of course, but he'd be a 3 to 1 dog. Surely he's got to lay these down.
Call.
No, he's called.
Call by Bjorn Lee
We
with
see the
ace,
familiar
ace,
sigh as he realises
Big
he is
Bjorn
behind.
play with ace jack up against ace 8.
Kenneth Wong is the man in peril of leaving in 6th place. Just needs to fade an 8.
9, 3,
Running
5.
hearts no good to Bjorn Lee because Wong has the ace of hearts.
And in front, we see a turn card. Turn card, Queen of Hearts.
So far so good for Kenneth Wong. Just needs to fade an 8. And it
Last card.
to not. So they both make a flush, but it is the nut flush for Kenneth Wong. And the collapse of Bjorn Lee continues. He has been operating almost as a charity in the last hour, giving chips to his sharkish opponents. Spiedel and Kristanowski, the main beneficiaries. Everyone else in with a shout, but Bjorn Lee will need to get busy.
That's it from us tonight. Join us again next time for more history in the making in the Aussie Millions 10th anniversary main event.